Can you weather the storm? I feel like this is a perfect topic to discuss, as a lot of people struggle with not seeing the results that they want in life, having obstacles thrown their way that are stopping them from becoming the man or woman that they want to be. I know firsthand about all that because that's something that I've gone through for plenty of years on this channel. Not even just on this channel, but just in life itself. And I was sitting here this morning, laying in bed after I got done watching church, and I was just like, man, how much longer do I have to go? How much longer until things work out? How much longer do I have to keep putting in work until things change? And I had to ask myself, I had to say, Alex, can you weather the storm, bro? And it brought me back to my past and just thinking about everything that I had gone through, and some of the times where, I didn't weather the storm, some of the times where things got too tough and I folded, I quit. And so I want to share with you guys just some tips on what you can do to make sure that you do weather the storm, you don't fold, you don't quit on your dreams, your aspirations, your standards, and becoming the man or woman that you want to be. I actually, y'all, did bring out the whiteboard for today's video. Like, I wanted to do a whiteboard vid, but it looks like with the whole camera setup that I have, I don't think it's gonna be able to fit the whiteboard in here, so I'm probably just gonna have to order a bigger one, but just know we got the whiteboard vids coming soon. The first topic I wanted to discuss in weathering the storm is hypnotic rhythm. Don't fall back into hypnotic rhythm. Now, some of you guys might be asking me, Alex, what is hypnotic rhythm? Well, hypnotic rhythm is a term that comes from Napoleon Hill. He talks about it in the book Outwitting the Devil. It's something that 98% of men and women are stuck in. I'm gonna read you guys the definition of hypnotic rhythm. It's a law of subconscious human nature that tends to slowly solidify our habits and make them a permanent part of our lives, often without us even noticing how powerful and addictive those habits have become. Just think about in your life all the habits that you do have. Obviously, we have the habits of waking up, brushing our teeth, getting ready for school or work, but we also have the habits of probably first thing in the morning picking up your phone as well. Think about what you do when you get home. You might have the rhythm of you come home, you take a shower, and then you go straight into watching YouTube videos. I know that was my thing. Whenever I would come home from work, my rhythm was I scroll on Instagram for a while, I watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos. Next thing I know, it's already 8, 9 o'clock. It's time for me to go ahead and eat dinner. And then I'm going to sleep and doing it all over the next day. It's like, bro, what are you doing? It's like you're just living life on autopilot, and a lot of us don't realize that. Now, just to go a little bit more in depth for me personally, I've always had dreams to become the man that I know I'm supposed to be. I've been making YouTube videos on here for 7 or 8 years now. I've constantly been in the gym on and off for years. I've been doing a lot of good habits, but never actually staying disciplined enough for them to replace the bad habits that I had already developed. I had tried to go to the gym. I might do good for 3 weeks, but then once I don't see the results, once I don't see any gains taking place, I see my body looking the same, I stop. I use that time that was spent going to the gym, that goes right back into watching YouTube videos. Same thing even when it comes to YouTube. There have been plenty of times where I've made up my mind, okay, I'm no longer gonna be a consumer, I'm gonna be a creator. I would go ahead and lock in on YouTube for a little bit. I'd start posting vlogs. I'd start talking about semen retention. I'd start talking about how I saved X amount of money to buy a home. Like, I would make all these videos, but then when the views don't come in right away, I get discouraged again. I get upset. I decide, okay, maybe this isn't for me. But I had to realize I didn't fail because these new habits that I were adopting don't work. I wasn't giving the new habits enough time to replace the old habits that I built up over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And so that might be the same thing for you guys. You guys probably have plenty of things that you know you want to work on. You know you want to be more productive when you come home. Just because you do it for 6 days, 7 days, and you don't see those results doesn't mean that new habit isn't taking over. It's just you haven't given it enough time just yet. And so that's something that I had to realize myself, is these things just take time to develop, and I need to lead by example and not fall into hypnotic rhythm myself. If I'm being honest with y'all, I didn't want to post a video today. I was tired. My body is sore from going to the gym. I felt like I spent dumb long editing a video yesterday. I had to remember, who is it that I'm becoming? What is the new identity that I'm shifting into? What kind of habits do I want to adapt? I need to work on adapting those new habits and not worrying about the results that come with it. It's only human nature for us to want to focus on the results so much, but when you focus on the results so much, you're never going to build that right foundation that's needed in order to become that successful person that you want to be. Start becoming aware of the negative habits, the bad habits that you have already. Realize that it's going to take time to replace those habits with the new ones, but just give yourself some time. Give yourself 60 days, give yourself 90 days, and understand that you've been built a certain way, you've been wired a certain way for so long, it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. The second topic I want to discuss in Weathering the Storm is everything is temporary. I feel like that's a cliche line, something that we've heard multiple times just throughout life. Our grandparents probably told us this, or our parents told us this, but as I've gotten older and I've gotten to go through the ebbs and flows of life and see when I'm doing great and see when I'm doing bad, I'm able to realize how much further I could have been in life if I just stayed level-headed that whole time. I can think back to 2021. I had recently moved to Atlanta from California, just started my new life as a single man in a new city. I got a great remote job that was paying me a lot of money, especially living in the South compared to California. The pay range is different. Making what I was making in the South, I was balling compared to if I would have been making that in California. With me being single, having my own crib, having the confidence now, feeling like I'm him because I got a little bit of money in my pocket, I started enjoying life a little bit. I started going on lots of dates with girls. I started traveling to different cities around the country, shoot, even out of the country. I started going to basketball games all the time, sitting in front row, going to baseball games all the time, soccer games all the time, you name it, I was there. But you know, there came a time where I ended up getting laid off from that job. And when I got laid off, I felt like I lost everything. Those girls that I was with before, all of a sudden I can't take them out no more. I can't go on dates. I can't do this or do that the way I used to. All of a sudden that confidence that I once had from having all that money in my bank account, it went away. And next thing you know, I went from feeling like I was him to feeling like I was the lamest dude in the world. And I sit back now and I ask myself, Alex, why is that? Like, why did you let that job get you down so much? Why did you lose all of your confidence just from that? It's because I was living on a high. It was because I was feeling like I was that dude because I had these materialistic things. What I've had to realize is the materialistic things are just a byproduct of the work that you do. But who are you when those things go? See, you can be him and be at the bottom. You might not be where you want to be, but you have that mindset. And so what I had to learn was being him is a mindset. You have to stay stoic. When times are good, yeah, you know, celebrate that. You know, maybe you did have a YouTube video that popped off, or maybe you did make a sale in your business, or maybe you did hit a new PR in the gym. All of those things are good, and you do need to celebrate those wins. Don't get too caught up on those wins because there's always another level that we need to go to. There's always more that we need to be striving for. And that moment that you get comfortable and you just start enjoying things around you or the lifestyle around you, that's when things go south, you lose yourself. And the same goes for when things are going bad. You have to look back at your life and think about the times, you know, maybe you went through a bad breakup, or maybe you did, like me in that case, get laid off from a job. Maybe you were disappointed in an outcome, things didn't go exactly how you wanted to go. I'm pretty sure at some point though you bounced back. I'm pretty sure at some point you did start making good money again. I'm pretty sure at some point you probably did find a new girl, and I'm pretty sure at some point you did find something new to go ahead and give you fulfillment. If we just live life being more stoic, understand that I'm not gonna get too excited, too happy when things are up, and I'm not gonna get too down when things are bad, and stay humble and stay locked in with God and let him lead me where I'm supposed to go, you're not gonna be on this up and down roller coaster the way I was. And the third topic I want to touch on when it comes to weathering the storm is simply, how do you want your story to end? Now, we could talk about everything that I've mentioned before. We could talk about the highs, the lows that come into life. We could talk about the hypnotic rhythm, the you trying to create a new reality or create a new habit but constantly failing to do so. What happens if you actually do just quit? Do you want to be known as a guy who quit on his dreams? Or do you want to be known as the guy who was relentless, the guy who kept attacking, the guy who kept living with purpose year in and year out, even when he didn't have the successful business just yet, even when he didn't have the physique he wanted just yet, even when things around him didn't change in that moment, he still kept going because he was so hungry and wanted it so bad. We all have those same options. Something I've had to learn is it's okay to fail. In fact, most successful people actually do fail. The quicker you fail, the quicker you're gonna succeed. That's something I heard FedEx Fearless say not too long ago, so I am stealing his lines, but I do believe that is true. I'm someone who in the past have been scared of failure. I had been scared to possibly have to deal with rejection or things not going my way, when in reality, if I did just go face to face with whatever that obstacle was, even if I did fail, at least I'd have the experience to learn from it. You're never gonna get where you wanna be if you don't have the experience, if you're not living in the game. You can't live from the sidelines. I'm someone who lived on the sidelines sidelines for a long time. And I can only imagine where I would be at, how much further in life, what my identity would be by now if I just stayed in the game even when I took those L's. You could be a team like a OKC Thunder. Think 5 years ago, back when we was in the bubble, OKC got dropped off by Houston. I want to say it was in the first round too. It was finally time to go through a real rebuild, and they knew it was going to be Shea's team eventually, but they knew they needed some pieces. 2021, still struggling. 2022, still struggling. They had to go through, and then all of a sudden 2024 comes and they start popping off. But even when they pop off, they're one of the top seeds in the West. They still lose real early in the playoffs. Then they come back around 2025. Next thing you know, it looks, well, they just got dropped off by Minnesota, so I can't say they're clear cut to go to the finals just yet. But you just see the progression from this young team, from this team of people who's hungry. You just see all those same factors that you can apply to life, as far as taking the hits, having to get the experience, having to learn from others, having to deal with the loss and have to come back hungrier and understand, okay, this is what I need to do since I failed last time. And I think where most of us go wrong, including myself in the past, is we get that hit and we just say, dang, we can't do it. So make sure you guys don't do that. Make sure you do live with a purpose. You don't want to be a drifter. You don't want to be like 98% of the other men and women who just do whatever they want. They take whatever job they can get. But that's not going to be us. We're not going to be 98%ers. We're going to be the 1%ers. We don't care about how long it takes to get that standard that we have for ourselves. We're going to live every single day, and we're going to move relentlessly until we get those things that we want. And the last thing I want to leave y'all with when it comes to your why is, you don't want to be that person who has no story to tell your kids. You don't want to be that person that tells their children they gave up on their dreams when they were 16, 17, 18 years old. They just accepted the first partner they could find, or they accepted the first good job that they could find, but they were never really satisfied. If you do that, you're going to be 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old, and you're going to have that regret that you didn't live life for you, that you didn't chase after the things that you want. If you did enjoy today's video, feel free to leave a like, go ahead and comment, go ahead and subscribe. It is Alex Moore. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.